Hi guys, it's Kevin Wells. I'm back with another video on anger. Again, some of this is going, like I mentioned in the previous video, there's three criteria that is going to determine if you possibly have anger issues. And that is the same criteria you can use to see if you have other issues such as anxiety or depression or whatnot. So again, just things and those are just three criteria to help you to determine if that is something you have. It doesn't mean you actually have it, but it may mean that you might need to work on some of that. So again, take that a little bit with a grain of salt, but those three criteria are good ones to use to help you determine that. So in today's video, I want to talk more about where is your anger coming from? Why do you show anger? Why do you react the way you act? Or where does anger come from rather? So it really comes from two places, but I'm going to really talk today more about one, and then I'll make another video about number two. Or I may put it all in one, who knows, we'll see. So here's what I want you to look at. So I'm going to make a little bit of a cake here. And so what I want you to think about with the cake is it has layers to it, right? So what we're going to see here is three different layers here, okay? And so I want you to think of this top layer as it's the icing on the cake, right? So this is what everybody sees. This is what everybody sees you do. This is what you observe and notice. And this is really anger, okay? So anger is on top because anger is something that we see, is something that the other person sees. It's our reaction, right? But really what's going on is underneath that anger is something else, okay? And so the first thing that I would encourage you to look at is if you're feeling any kind of embarrassment or hurt from whatever situation you're in or what someone has said or someone has done, because to an extent what's going on here is really anger is coming from this. So one thing to be aware of as you're going through this is that when you need to communicate when you need to manage your anger better, part of managing your anger is going and how to communicate that to your partner or to your child or to just any human being, is to know where is the anger coming from, right? Because if you don't know where it's coming from and you can't identify it, then it's going to be hard to solve that puzzle, right? It's like having a puzzle piece that's just missing. We can't really do anything with it. We can't complete the picture, right? So, and usually what I used to teach in couples and families therapy is that, when we talk about how we feel, we really want to get down to if not the second layer, we definitely want to get down to the third, but definitely the second layer, the first layer of the cake, I should say. Sorry, not the icing. But the first layer of embarrassment and hurt, we need to at least identify that if we're not going to identify the rest. All right. But what's behind hurt and embarrassment? And that's the big question. And so really behind that is anxiety and fear. And so really hurt and embarrassment is coming from anxiety and fear. And think about this. So the reason why I'm frustrated, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is going on. How come she's talking to me this way? Or how come he's talking to me this way? It is because there is some fear and anxiety about the relationship. Okay, and it's usually probably something about the relationship ending, or it's in some shape or form about losing something like power and control in something. All right, so that's usually that's what it's usually geared towards. And so we do this to each other as couples, right? Unfortunately, we do this as couples because we're always trying to gain some type of power and some type of control. But when we do that, the listening response from somebody else is this. And so what they show you is anger, but we're really feeling hurt and fear and anxiety. So I'm feeling hurt that someone is calling me out or saying something to me that, I'm hurt by what they said or did. And then it's fear that that they may leave or something may happen, or that something's going to be torn apart, so to say, or maybe even I have to change because now I have to identify that, hey, I have something I need to work on, like I mentioned in the other video, right? So again, these are things to be thinking of, is what's really going on behind the anger? That's what's really going to tell you. So you're going to have to take some time, and what we call the Columbo approach here in when we're talking about therapy is be in a basically you want to question, where is that anger? What are you really feeling, and where is that coming from? Okay, and the big ones the big hitters are, again, embarrassment and hurt, which is typically related to anxiety and fear. I know a lot of y'all don't want to admit that you're scared, but realistically, what's going on subconsciously is there's a fear. There's a fear that there's a less loss than never. Go look at my prior videos about less loss than never. Whenever you feel that, we typically feel anger. But again, where's less loss than never coming from? A state of anxiety and fear. Fear that I'm going to have less loss or none. Okay, so please keep that in mind. And so what's the real culprit behind all this is survival. Now hear me out on this. The way your body, now you're not going to be able to read my handwriting. I can hardly ever read it myself, to be quite honest. But survival is basically my ability to survive in the world. See, the thing is, like 10,000, 20,000 years of evolution of your brainstem has not changed yet. You're still in that reptilian brain back here that regulates your breathing and your heart rate and your blood pressure and all that fun stuff, right? And your hunger. And so what's really happening is, under anxiety, fear, if you think about this, if I lose my partner, if I lose my friends, if I lose something, then how am I going to survive? Because my brainstem is thinking, ooh, I got to protect myself. Ooh, what if I'm all alone? How am I going to make it? Now, I get some of you, maybe you make really good money, maybe you have no worries in the world. I don't know, but you're still angry. What are you angry about? It still comes to survival. I mean, that is the basis of all of it, is how will I survive? See, the thing is, I can have all the money in the world and I can be by myself and I can be a little happy, but at the end of the day, we're social creatures, we're pack animals. So without a pack, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the world, because a saber-tooth tiger could come tomorrow and kill you. So the only difference between 10, 20,000 years ago and today is that you and I are the saber-tooth tigers. Does that make sense? So again, this really is a deeper phenomenon going on here besides just anger. There's a deeper rooted issue there. And so there's deeper fear there. So again, if we kind of trickle this back up, my survival instincts are creating the fear and anxiety, which is creating hurt and embarrassment, which I act out in anger. And again, anger is acted out in aggression. Aggression is actually a behavior, right? Aggression is my volume, my tone, my pitch, my attitude actually comes from all those, and what I'm doing, right? So what I'm saying, what I'm doing, whether I throw a remote across the room or slam a cabinet, or I go for a run, do something healthy, for example, whatever I'm doing, is a behavior. Now, aggression is a form of behavior that is maladaptive and it doesn't work, and it creates a lot of more tension and just long story short, a lot more tension, and it also causes gridlock, right? So between two people, so especially your partner, so your wife, your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever you want to call them. So again, where is the anger coming from? It's coming from these different levels in this cake, right? These different layers. So hopefully you can read this. I hope this is helpful. Again, just to revisit this, anger is a surface level emotion. Where anger is really coming from is from feelings of hurt and embarrassment. That's layer one. Again, closer to the top, closer to surface level. Second is anxiety and fear. So it's anxiety or fear that I have about whatever's going on. And then survival. So in both of those two bottom layers typically have to do with less loss and never, which I've talked about before by Tony Robbins. So again, this is one way to start looking at this. And what I want you to really work on with this is identifying the emotion that you're really feeling. And that's what we communicate to our partner. That's what we communicate to our child. That's what we communicate to our peers. I hope this video is helpful. Again, if you have questions, you want to see something different, some more videos on anger, let me know. I'll be more than happy to take a look at the comments and see what I can come up with. All right, take care. See you next time.